Hello everybody, welcome back to Familia Pablanu. I'm the one and only Anu.
And I'm Pablo, this is Pablo.
And this is Baby, just Baby. And first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who subscribed, liking and sharing and watching all of our How We Met series. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just click the subscribe button and the bell button so you get notifications. We have a series lined up.
If you haven't seen it yet, how we first met and everything, look in the description.
Yes, yeah. So please read descriptions. Please read the descriptions. And in this series, it gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
Without further ado, here we go.
My Africa, your children are home. So as I was seeing like Anu kind of matching up with me in values and stuff, I was like, okay, you know, this is getting real. And then on top of that, at the same time, it was around Thanksgiving time, and we had an opportunity to meet each other's parents. And so my parents were coming up because we were going to go to another brother's house in a different state for Thanksgiving.
It was November, and it was Thanksgiving time. My parents, my family is in Louisiana. I already saw them in September. As part of the previous video, I went there to visit them. But I was in communication with my sister. I was telling her everything that's happening. So she's involved in all this. I told her about the red flags. I told her about everything. So she knew about everything that's going on. Yeah. So I think I might have buzzed it around my father's ears, like, okay, there's this guy, I have a friend, maybe since I came in September, you can come in November for Thanksgiving. And they were like, okay, sure, we'll come. And they were going to drive all the way from Louisiana to Indiana to visit. And I was looking forward to that.
And they were like, oh, we'd love to meet her. And I was like, great, yeah. So they came. We had like an early little Thanksgiving in my apartment, my small apartment. And Anu came, and she got to meet my parents. And you know, they of course absolutely loved her. You know, they were really great, seemed really good with her. And yeah, were very, yeah, they seemed good with her.
There in Indiana. So that happened. I met the father for the first time. I met the mother for the first time. The one thing I noticed about the mother, even in the videos that I saw of her, was that I don't know, she looked very depressed. But again, when this man is preaching, oh yes, this is good, take care of your wife, cherish her, this lively stuff. So I thought everything was fine. But then, how is it that this woman looked very depressed? That was my first impression of her when I saw her for the first time. And so they came over. I went to Pablo's house for that Thanksgiving meal. We ate, and it was nice. They cooked all the turkey, and it was nice, and we ate food. I think I also met Pablo's youngest siblings, because he comes from a family of nine of them, children. So I met his two youngest siblings. One other red flag is that, so this man is saying, you know, has the heart of a father. You have to, fathers, treat your children right and this and that. And then Pablo was telling me that the eldest brother was excommunicated from being part of the family. I'm like, that does not sound like someone who's saying, have the heart of a father and I'm the best father and all of these things. What happened there? And so there's that red flag. Like, why is the firstborn excommunicated? Oh yeah, the father doesn't approve of the wife he was marrying. And so since he wouldn't break up with her, they had to, because she doesn't have the good spirit, she has maybe Jezebel spirit or bad spirit. Because of that, he cannot approve of him to marry that kind of woman. And he didn't listen. He said he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And he said, okay, go your own way. So stop communication. He told all of his children to not communicate with him because he had bad spirits now. And they all listened. And he told me that. I'm like, you don't think there's more to that story? He's like, this is all I know. I mean, if you want to be in good standing with God, he will have to leave his wife and children, which the eldest had children. leave them and go back as a prodigal son, that's when God will be acceptable. God will accept him back. I'm like, which God?
From where we were living. So we drove all the way there and had Thanksgiving there, and then drove back almost immediately, early in the morning, so that way I could meet Anu's parents. And so that was a bit of a trial because I was sleeping on the floor, didn't sleep hardly at all. There was some dog running around. Anyways, it was hard to sleep. Slept like maybe 3 hours, 2 hours, and then I had to wake up my sister and drive her back at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. and was sleeping on the road. Pretty dangerous, but luckily there was no one on the road because it was the day after Thanksgiving. And so drove back, finally got there like an hour or so before meeting with her parents and stuff. And so then took a bit of a nap, got ready. My sister got ready and we both went. I took my sister. Like I said, I was always taking my sister.
And so they actually all left and I had to keep working because then there will be on Thanksgiving Day, the day before Thanksgiving, they came early because they had, Pablo had this whole week off and I didn't. I only had Thursday and Friday off at work. So they came early to make Thanksgiving meal, and they all went to another state to meet another son, and they all went. That's where they celebrate Thanksgiving on a Thursday. So it was Thanksgiving early for us in Indiana. So my parents came on Wednesday evening, or is it Thursday, early Thursday, and we bought ingredients, we bought turkey, we cooked jollof rice, we cooked all this food. He had to drive all the way back to Indiana so that they can meet my parents. So he can meet my parents for the first time. And they were all very nervous about that. I already told my father, I say, okay, there's a guy I want you to meet. He's coming this evening for dinner, and I like him. And I've never told him like that, like I like a guy before. And he saw that I was really nervous. He saw that I really mean what I was saying. So he's like, don't worry, we'll meet the guy, we'll see what he's like. And
so I took my sister as well. Went over to Anu's apartment where her parents were.
He was so determined. He came with his sister because the sister had to stay with him for school and all that. So they were so determined to be there. So I was so happy about that. So I met my parents. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. We were all so nervous.
And they had also organized a more Nigerian version of Thanksgiving, which was nice. So the turkey was chopped up and deep fried instead, which tasted good at the time. And then also jollof rice, things like that. So got to try all that. I had it before, I think Anu had made it, but that time her mom had made it. So it was good. It was a nice experience. And
we ate jollof rice. I think Pablo had jollof rice for the first time. It was deep fried turkey this time that we ate. He met my father. Father shook his hand. We were like, oh, how are you? Good to meet you. And they talked. And I remember my mother asking him questions.
Again, I was trying to be the good boy, very respectful, very honoring, as I would say, to her parents. And her parents asked me, some pretty hard questions, good ones. I think her mom asked me, like, what do you like most about my daughter, and what do you like least about my daughter? And I was like, those are really good questions and very hard to answer. I was like, what I like most to me was her faith. And what I meant by that was how, because I connected faith and spiritual to physicality at the time. So when I saw her at that time, when I first saw her after coming back from Mexico, and I was in this place with all these people, and they were just really downers, and it was just really dark. No one really cared to talk to me, get to know me or anything. And then she shows up, and it was just like a bright light, just she comes in, and she didn't act like them. She didn't have the same beliefs as they did. She wasn't under that same stuff. She was free, or at least I thought she was pretty free in comparison. And so I took that as her faith, right? And so that's what I told him. I was like, yeah, it's her faith. That's what drew me to her, is her faith and all that, you know. I suppose I could have said, and also her beauty, but it felt weird to say that in front of her parents. I suppose I could have. But anyways.
I'm like, oh, thank you, Mother. Mother has question from him. And then my father also was like, my father started saying things like, you know, she's a good driver. She drives very, very well. And she's a smart girl. She's good with her education and this and that.
And then what I liked least, I was like, ooh, that's a hard one. And I think maybe they expected me not to say anything, but I stuck my foot in it and said, the way she drives. Even though her dad had just been praising how well she drove. She used to drive pretty intense. I was like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said anything.
The dinner finished and they went back home. And my parents stayed over, they slept there over. They left the following morning, I think. So I was so very happy. I was so happy that my father met this guy. And when they left, I asked my father, okay, so what do you think of him? And my father was like, he's nice. He's cool-headed. I like him.
But anyways, so, and afterwards, Anu told me that, yeah, my parents, they were good with you. They, you know, asked a few questions about me, and but they seemed good to go. So in my mind, coming from my background, that was a green light, you know. My parents were good, her parents were good, so it was good. So I was like, all right. So I started thinking about how to propose.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing in our story, how we met series.
So stay tuned as we talk about more and more about our relationship, how it developed, you know, all the way through proposal, all the way up to wedding,
Yeah.
all the drama that ensued.
Right. Well, you think you've seen drama? Wait till you hear ours. So keep watching. Until next time, Odabo. Adios.
See you next time.
Bye.